Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday, and welcome to the Workers' Mic, right here on 720 WGN. We're powered by the Midwest Coalition of Labor. I'm Ed Maher with the International Union of Operating Engineers, and joining me today is Phil Davidson from the Mid-America Carpenters Regional Council. Welcome back, Phil.
That is correct. Good morning, Ed. Nice to see you again, man.
It's great to see you. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday as well.
Thanks for coming down so early in the morning. Ken is on assignment. I understand he's out trying to catch all the fish in Florida, and he's not having much luck. But
we were talking about that. Doesn't really strike me as an angler, but hey,
Ken's a renaissance man.
Don't judge a book by its cover, right?
You know, we got a lot of feedback when we told the story about him and his metal band opening for Motorhead.
That's right.
He's a lawyer with a very interesting past, and we know you're listening out there, Ken. So we hope you're catching some fish.
Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, so we've got a really interesting show today. We're going to have a group coming in from Alta Equipment. Now, this is an equipment rental shop that's covers the Midwest, kind of the middle third of the country. But they've got a great story about their workforce and kind of the approach that they take, where if you get employees, you treat them really well, you train them well, you pay them well, and you listen to them, ask them for their input, and actually make changes, give them opportunities for growth. You can build a successful business on that model. And I mean, I think that's something that, Phil, you understand working with the carpenters. I understand that treating your workers well, it's not a cost, it's an investment.
It's absolutely an investment. And a lot of your members work there.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think 100 local 150 members, he said, worked there. 5 years ago, it was 30. He was telling me on the phone. So, it's I can't wait to hear a little bit more about it. He's, Gianni, the president, who's going to be here, is a heck of a good guy. So, looking forward to that. And then also, we're going to be talking a little bit about this upcoming writers' strike in Hollywood.
Yep.
I
Talk
think,
of the town.
Right? So May 1st, I guess, there is the deadline, and we're going to take a look into what the dynamics of that industry are, because I think it's really interesting, something that we don't always think about, but, that used to be broadcast TV, sitcoms, and now, I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot of people have cut the cord, gotten away from cable, so folks who are trying to make a living in those jobs have got to figure out a different way to do that.
Do you remember the last writer's strike when late night television shows we had no writing staff, and they would just the host would have to get up there and just vamp for an hour?
Yeah, those are usually the first ones that get impacted is the late night shows because they don't have anything in the can. So we'll do that. I mean, I know Phil, you've got a lot of interesting things to talk about, including some apprenticeship opportunities with the carpenters. So we'll get into all of that later on in the show. As well as the tax fraud days of action. The carpenters were really involved in that, held some events around the city. So
big week for us, yep.
Yeah, and that's something that I think is important to workers of any stripe. So you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure.
But we're looking forward to a good show today. We'll be back in just a few minutes with a panel of professionals from Alta Equipment Group. So stick with us, and we'll be right back with you right here on 720 WGN. Welcome back, everybody, to the Workers' Mic right here on 720 WGN. This is Ed Maher. I'm joined with Phil Davidson, and we're back with a panel. We've got Alta Equipment Company in the studio today, and we're very glad to have them. And we have a group of employees there, and we've got Gianni Campo. He's the president of Alta. Chris Bema, he's the director of product support. Greg Pease, the regional vice president of the Midwest. And Ron Anderson, who's a senior product support manager and also a proud member of the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150, just like me. So welcome in, everybody. It's great to have you here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So, first off, Gianni, the president of Alta, I'd like to hear a little bit more. Just tell us a little bit about, the company, where you're based, and, what your scope, where your area of operations is.
The company's based in Livonia, Michigan. That's where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
It was started in '84 by Steve Greenewalt, and it was started as a material handling forklift company. And we got into construction equipment back in '09. And it started in Michigan, and we've grown exponentially really over the last few years. This is about our 5th year here now in Illinois.
Okay.
So we've been here about 5 years, still young. A few acquisitions, and we've grown nicely, I guess, over the last few years here in Illinois.
So you sell equipment, you rent equipment, and maintain equipment also, right?
Yes, yeah, sales, service, rentals, yeah, absolutely. All
Like
of it.
what type of equipment? How small to how big?
Everything, really
Yeah.
everything in Illinois, from literally lawnmowers
Okay.
to cranes and everything in between. Yellow iron, excavators, off-road trucks, loaders, everything, generators, rental, sales, service, all of it.
Okay. So you've been president. How long have you been president for?
About
with
2
Alta?
years, a little over 2 years.
So you came in right during the pandemic.
Yeah, as the president, yes, yeah,
Okay.
during the pandemic, yep.
So I know that during the pandemic, that was the rental industry specifically was kind of a bellwether for the supply chain issues. Construction was coming back. People wanted to get these projects started. There just wasn't the equipment to do it, and so rental companies were under a lot of stress to try to bring in additional products and stuff. So is that still kind of the case? Has that improved at all, or how has that helped you?
It's improved a little bit, but I think actually we weathered that storm pretty well. With our size, we're in multiple states, from the Midwest to the Northeast down into Florida, and we're able to share equipment and resources between our regions. So we've been able to weather that storm, and really I think it's helped because maybe some of the other dealers that were struggling, we were able to fill some of those voids and giving us a seat at the table where maybe we weren't before, and we kind of proved ourselves with our equipment or our service. So it's really, I thought we've weathered the storm and actually probably done pretty well through it.
So coming out of the pandemic, how would you say how's the health of the construction market around Chicago?
It's still the demand's still there.
Yeah.
We really don't see it slowing down. I think everyone can attest. Like a little slowdown's okay. We don't want an '08 here, but
Right.
but the demand's still strong, no doubt about it.
Okay, so you in addition again to selling equipment and renting equipment, you also service equipment. So you've got a staff of mechanics.
Yes.
What's the supply like? I know that's a highly skilled position. So is it tough to find good talent, tough to find trained talent? I know a lot of your mechanics are members of the Operating Engineers Local 150,
Yeah.
the heavy equipment technician. So has it been tough to kind of keep up with the needs?
We've done a pretty good job. I think we started when we came in here about 5 years ago with about 30, and we're up to about 100, close to 100 techs right
Wow,
now.
that's a lot of growth.
We think we pay a pretty fair wage. I think we're one of the highest in Illinois. So
I think you might be one of the top in the nation, which
Yeah.
hats off to you for that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, we're one of our mantras is uptime matters for sure, and we can't do that without talented techs. And we've done a good job. We've done a good job keeping talent and training talent. So yeah.
We actually have customers that, excuse me, that request our techs to go all over the nation. So,
Really?
for example, I won't give specifics, but they, right now we have 10 guys in Kentucky and Arkansas. They want our Union 150 techs over at the local talent there, just because our guys are top notch.
So that's just a matter of skill training, commitment to training both by the employees, the unions, and within Alta as well.
Sure.
I mean, you were telling me a little bit about the commitment to training that Alta, has as part of its philosophy, Gianni. So, what does that mean? As far as if somebody's been working at Alta as a technician for 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, and they want to take some sort of a class to upgrade their skills. Do they have access to that? And kind of carte blanche to do that from the company and through the union?
100%. Chris, that's Chris's background, so you can speak
Okay.
more on it, but 100%, yes.
So we basically at the beginning of the year we have a training director. She's based out of Florida. We go sit down with every tech, say what path do you want to go down this year, what area of expertise are you looking to enhance in, and have that conversation, and then we basically plan out a training for the year. Sometimes we get thrown curveballs. We actually just picked up a new product line this year, so we're gonna actually have to get like 6 or 7 techs trained on that as well. So.
Well, yeah, as mechanics in the construction industry with the kind of sophisticated equipment that's around now, it's no longer just turning wrenches. I mean, I know, for example, like the exhaust systems on heavy equipment, the air that's coming out of the exhaust pipe is often cleaner than when it went in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the standards on construction equipment, have gone up through the EPA over the last 10 years, I think a couple of times. But, my experience dealing with some of our members who are technicians, it's an extremely professional job.
Actually, we have electric excavators.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we added those to our product line the last year. We did training classes on those already. I think we got 6 or 7 techs across the country with Alta's footprint trained on those. They're kind of moving out there right now, but we have the training, the tools for them. So
Okay.
What goes into the training? Curious for our listeners who are totally unfamiliar. I mean, is there classroom training involved?
Both.
Ron could probably answer better.
It's-
He's been through them, so.
It's classroom training, but it ends up being hands-on too. You got to do hands. I mean, I'm a retired tech, so you have to do hands-on because, just like you said, that technology is. I was a wrench, you know. If it had nuts and bolts, I could fix it. Nowadays, you got to have the computer, you got to have the knowledge, you got to have some support somewhere that you can call to get if you run into a problem. So there's a lot to it, but yeah, it's hands-on and book training.
And constantly changing, it sounds
Yes,
like. Yeah.
every day.
Well, yeah, I can say for the apprenticeship program at Local 150, you know, we run a number of different apprenticeship programs, from heavy equipment operator to drillers to material inspectors and heavy equipment technicians. And due to just the massive demand for the apprenticeship program for operating equipment, that's only open for 1 month of the year typically. But the heavy equipment technicians is open all the time because there's such a need for it, and there are not enough people out there, you know, getting into these programs. So if somebody graduates who's motivated and has a lot of skill and is talented, I mean, I'm sure you guys, I see you nodding your heads.
We
You want
want
them?
them.
You
I
want to
mean,
keep them?
vocational skill that you know. I have 4 kids myself, so I know what the college costs are.
Right.
And you start talking about ROI, but I mean, if you
That's
if
no
you,
joke.
You want to put your head down and go to work. You got great benefits. You get great pay, and we consider ourselves a pretty good organization to work for. So you can start in our company, you know, really sweeping the floor, and you could become a tech. You could become, you know, director of service. You know, the sky's the limit, you know, so we love to hire, train, and hire within and promote from within. So, yeah, it's a great living. I mean, we all hear it, but, you know, whether it's a tech, whether it's an electrician, whether it's a carpenter, I mean, you know, the skilled trades are where it's at, and there's certainly a demand for it.
Well, here at the Workers Mic, we couldn't agree more with you on that. We talk about that a lot. It's a career option that a lot of people are not exposed to. You know, whether it's high school guidance counselors not knowing that it's an option, or you know, parents not having a whole lot of experience in construction, not passing that on. But it's a hidden gem.
Actually, Ron and I both, obviously Ron was a tech. I was also a tech with Alta for 2010. And like Gianni said, sky's the limit for advancement here. So.
Yeah, and Gianni, you started off, you were an operating engineer out of Local 324 in Michigan, right?
Yeah, I started up, my father and uncle had a construction company, small paving contractor, but grew up really around equipment on a dozer when I was 5 years old. So grew up on equipment, truck driving, concrete finishing. So yeah, I know the industry very well. So I get it. You know, and I guess I try to be, you know, I think I'm more relatable to whether it's a tech or even a customer. You know, we kind of been there, done that.
Right.
I understand the sense of urgency. We all understand the sense of urgency, and that uptime matters. And that's our mantra within Alta, you know, is really to take care of the customer and build those relationships. And, you know, customers for life is one of our guiding principles.
Yeah.
And you get there from doing the things, and product support leads the way 100%.
Well, I think anybody who's ever worked in construction has at some point been approached by somebody with a clipboard who has no idea what they do, but is, you know, determined to tell them how to do it better. So having leadership that came up through the ranks and understands the issues that employees at every level are facing, I think leads to more happier employees, people who feel a little bit more engaged. And again, I mean, these jobs pay well. Since coming in at Alta, I know. You've shared a little bit of your philosophy on the value of treating people well, and the fact, you know, you were saying that some folks are down in Kentucky from this area because they're the best, and
Right.
you know, customers down there want them. So, whether it's, I think this is a great example of what can happen when the partnership of business and laborers and, you know, workers who are bought into training and to being as skilled as they possibly can be. These workers are making good money. These are not $15 an hour jobs, and you're not a company that's looking for people for $15 an hour. You pay your people well, you treat them well, you make sure that they're trained, and you're successful, they're successful, and customers can't get enough of them. So.
And that follows along with one of our other guiding principles: invest in the best. And if we're going to make that investment, we are going to pay top scale, especially for phenomenal 150 candidate. We aren't going to take shortcuts. We're going to give them the tools and the resources, everything they need to do their job. And Ron's another example of promoting from within.
Right.
We don't just promote people that went to college. I mean, the trades, we have amazing people from 150 that we've promoted throughout the years that are in management positions now, and because they've approached us or we've approached them as a candidate. And we really try to during our performance reviews, one of the things we do at the end of a performance review is talk about where do you see yourself in the company, maybe 1, 3, 5 years down the road. And a lot of times you get some great interaction there that maybe he doesn't want to be a technician the rest of his life,
right.
and he's seen some other parts of the company that he really enjoys and wants to be a part of that. So we'll start to groom them for that now, so that they're ready when a position like that may open.
No, I think that's a very, very smart way to approach business. Take your people and find out what their strengths and interests are, because when people are doing something they enjoy, they tend to do it a lot better. So where can people find out more about Alta? Do you guys have a website?
We do. It's altaequipment.com. Especially here in Illinois, again, we partner with 150 and the apprentice program. Obviously, they can reach out to you, and,
right.
and you can get us in touch with anybody that's interested. But again, just a little bit. Gianni brought up sweeping floors to maybe that's what I started when I was 17, sweeping floors and building hydraulic hoses and putting parts away. And
Okay.
30 years later, get a chance to be in Illinois with a phenomenal team. And Gianni and I just took a tour of all 6 locations in Illinois and our Northern Gary branch, and got a chance to shake every hand. Everybody that was there, shake hands, introduce ourselves as kind of the leadership team here, and just put a name to a face and not a number. And
right.
We had we got to shake every technician's hand and thank them for what they do, because we are a sales business, but we can't sell without the product support that we have. And reassuring them that we may sell the first machine, but they sell everyone after that, because
right.
if we can't take care of them or supply the parts or get out there in a timely manner, then we can't get that repeat business, which keeps us in business. So very important partnership we have with 150 and the technicians, and all the union people that help us on a daily basis as the front people of our customer focus in the store. It's huge, and it's going to really pay dividends for all of us here, and we're excited for a long journey.
Well, that's great. I on this show we talk a lot. We talk about success stories in the labor movement and businesses that do things the right way. Far too often there are more businesses who don't do things the right way. So, I mean, everything you're saying, I think is welcome to the people that are listening who, maybe don't get that kind of treatment at their jobs. So it's nice to know that there are companies out there that are actually committed to their workers. And you guys are a success story that, again, shows committing to your workers is not only the right thing to do, but it's good business.
Absolutely.
So, if, these jobs are out there, I'm talking to the listeners. These jobs are out there. They pay well. The training is fantastic, and these are skills that'll last you for an entire career. So for technicians at Alta, you would go through a heavy equipment technician apprenticeship at the Operating Engineers Local 150. So what I'll do is I'll give a website for our training center, and that's ASIPlocal150.org. So you can go there. You can learn a little bit more about the technician program. And consider it, because the jobs are available. If workers are committed and they're eager to get after it, there's certainly money to be made. Retirement savings, healthcare benefits, and it's a win-win for everybody. So I'd like to thank you guys for coming in, and thank you for everything that you do every day. To support the members, to support all your employees, and really to set a great example for all the other businesses that are out there.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
for
us.
the time.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Great.
All right, everybody, stick with us. We'll be right back after a break right here on 720 WGN. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Workers' Mic right here on 720 WGN. This is Ed Maher. I'm here with Phil Davidson, and if you were listening before, we just wrapped up a panel with some of the top dogs, the heavy hitters at Alta Equipment Group.
Yeah, good group.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the message was really great. I mean, and it's, again, I could talk ad nauseum about this, but it's a great success story of treat workers well, and they will do great work for you. And Alta is kind of a good example of a company that's doing very, very well by going above and beyond for workers. So
Yeah.
So if you missed that, you should check out the YouTube page. Starting at 9 o'clock, you can get on there, and that's go on YouTube and look for the Workers Mic, and you'll be able to find it. Check out that panel. It's interesting, and there's also some info about if you or someone you know would like to maybe get one of these good jobs. So at that note, I wanted to just give one last note for Alta. Their website, altg.com. They have job postings, various job postings at all their locations for that. So
Yeah, I think at every location they said they had job postings for.
yeah,
So
and I think for technicians, you've got to you come in through the union, through a union apprenticeship program, but they've got all kinds of job postings. So check them out. They clearly treat their people very well. So so definitely check them out. But on to one other thing that I wanted to touch on. Phil, you've got a lot of interesting things going on with the Carpenters, but before we get to that, there was some news this week out of Rise Dispensaries, which is a cannabis dispensary company here, and I think it's just in Illinois. It's a subsidiary of a company called Green Thumb Industries.
Yes.
Just pretty clever, but their staff is represented by the Teamsters Local 777, and they walked off the job over a couple of issues, but I thought it was pretty funny. They walked off the job at 4:20 p.m. on April 19th, just to sort of impact potentially operations on 420.
yes.
Which seems like, not a very chill pothead kind of a move,
No.
but the company
Sends a message though.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the issues that they had was the company was telling them that they didn't want them to wear their Teamsters pins on the job, and I mean it's a small thing, but it's a very important symbol in the labor movement. When you're organizing a company, whether you just organized having that union pin or a union hat or a union shirt, it's your right to do that, and anybody who tries to stop you is actually violating federal labor law. So
Yeah, those are worn with pride. They're not doing it for decoration. That's
exactly.
right.
I mean, as we talk about on the show, union membership is not easy for everyone to achieve. People
No.
fight long and hard and oftentimes don't get to the finish line. So, yeah, there were other issues there, but just wanted to throw a shout out to the employees over at Rise Dispensary.
Yeah, give them hell.
Yeah, right on. So this week, I know, Phil, you were telling me off the air about a tax fraud days of action campaign that the Carpenters were working on.
Yes. We had it began actually the week prior, and every year the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners of America, our international organization, we have a campaign that begins the second week of April, and it runs through tax day as a way to amplify what's going on. And the main issue here is we're just trying to raise awareness to the public, the policymakers, about the scourge of construction industry tax fraud. And it doesn't hit only carpenters. I mean, everyone is impacted by this, all the different building trades. And basically what we're trying to stop are contractors who pay their employees in cash, who pay them under the table, who misclassify them as independent contractors, give them 1099s, which prevents them from getting health benefits, which prevents them from being able to apply for workers' compensation.
Well, right. I mean, companies will tell employees like, hey, I'll just pay you cash. And
Right.
people are like, oh, cash, that sounds good.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, until
right.
you sprain an ankle or your kid gets sick and you need to go to the hospital and you're out of luck and your employer's
SOL.
just like, hey, tough, I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. And those same employers then, by paying people in cash, are not contributing to the income tax for the state.
Right.
For both federal and state, they're not paying into the workers' compensation fund. Just the state and our local communities, lose out on a lot of significant and necessary tax revenue, which, as we know, I mean, in any state right now, but especially Illinois and the city of Chicago, is much needed.
Right.
I think the numbers that we've been able to pull, thanks to our good friends at Alepi, is about like
Shout out to the Illinois Economic Policy Institute.
They're the best.
Yeah.
Frank Manzo, shout out to you. But they came up about $186 million that Illinois alone loses out on every year.
And that's
because
real
of
money.
tax fraud.
I mean,
It's
that's
real money.
Yeah, that's helping people afford to send their kids to preschool or any number of things. I mean, you could go into public projects, but
Public safety.
when that money, yeah, I mean, we had the group from Department of Labor and AFL-CIO in here last week talking about Workers' Memorial Day, which is coming up next Sunday. And one of the most important things that they talked about was how the state puts resources into doing free safety inspections on job sites. And that's, I mean, it's not like there's a ton of money sitting there to cover all that. So $180 million of money that should be coming into the tax system, but is not because, unscrupulous contractors are just pocketing this, leaving the state on the hook, leaving their workers on the hook, and just, putting the money in their pockets.
Yes. It makes it very difficult for our signatory contractors, for good union contractors in any industry to compete.
Right.
When you're up against a guy who can lowball bid
Right.
because he's paying guys in cash, he doesn't pay him any benefits, it makes it very hard for them.
Right.
So that's, we're trying to protect them, we're trying to protect taxpayers, and we're protecting workers who are getting screwed over and taken advantage of.
Yeah, it's two sides of the spectrum because, early in the show we hear about a contractor that is determined to do the right things and profit because they're doing things the right way and it works.
Yep.
And then on this side, you have people that are paying cash, not even, paying their state obligations. And, there are folks everywhere who will say, oh, we've got to let job creators, we've got to let them off easy. Listen, if they're going to cheat the system to not pay, and it's going to leave a gap where the rest of us who pay our taxes either don't get service or have to pay more to cover that, I respect contractors for creating jobs and doing the right things, but if they're going to illegally skirt their obligations, I don't want to be the one footing the bill for that.
We're all picking up the slack. Exactly.
That's crazy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, good work by the Carpenters for getting out.
Thank
and doing
you.
That. I know.
Yeah, we were everywhere. We were Thompson Center, Daly Center, Wrigley Field, just in Chicago. But then, because our jurisdiction expands into Kansas, Missouri, we were in St. Louis, Kansas City, pretty much everywhere in between. We think we had 90 events this year, bannering activity in front of high-profile locations, in front of targets that what we have found that are
Right.
violating tax fraud laws and wage theft. So
Yeah.
it was a good campaign.
Well, you guys had the wage theft campaign that you talked about a couple of months ago, but you've identified many contractors. I mean, a handful of contractors with really, really big sets of violations and their employees aren't even represented by the Carpenters, but you're going to bat for these people, and in a couple of cases, they've been penalized and had to come to settlements through the state where their employees are getting tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
in some
I
cases.
think one case, a guy received retroactive pay of $60,000
Wow.
that he was cheated out of.
And he was not a member of the
He
Carpenters.
was not a member of the
and
Carpenters
you guys call
Union.
him, and he's like, "Who are you?" Hey,
Yeah.
my name's Phil. I have $60,000.
We got a gift for you, right?
Yeah, boy, that guy better love unions.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is a penalty like if somebody is out there listening and they're being paid, cash under the table? They think something's being done wrong and they don't want to be held up, some kind of tax problem or an audit or some issues with the IRS. Like what are they left to do? Like, is there like an agency they reach out to? Or
Yeah, I mean, our agents, that's what they do. I mean, they visit any job site they can, and they talk to the workers there. They find out the situation about what they're getting paid, especially if it's in prevailing wage job.
Right.
So yeah, I think the best place to go to is just go to our website. We have information on there, carpentersunion.org, and you can easily find information on there where you can report tax fraud, report wage theft, and we'll investigate it. And we'll bring cases to the Department of Labor
Right.
and get them investigated. Now it's a challenge.
for sure.
Absolutely, because you need guys to come forward and be willing
It's a
to
bold
testify.
move,
It's a
yeah,
bold move. I mean, a lot of
against your
people,
company.
I tip my hat to them because it's very brave. A lot of the guys who are victims of tax fraud come over as immigrants and they get taken advantage of, and they don't know any better, and they're like, okay, well, I'm getting paid cash. They find work through labor brokers. It's pretty seedy industry there, and so they don't want to rock the boat. I mean, in some cases, some of these guys their lives could be threatened.
Right.
So it's a lot to investigate. It's a lot to prosecute, but we're certainly not going to back down from it.
Yeah, and I mean, anybody out there who's working for cash right now and thinking like, this is a pretty sweet deal, I don't have to pay any taxes. I don't know a whole lot of people that are doing really, really, really well who are still getting paid cash under the table. That
Correct.
system is made to short you. So no matter how well you think you're doing, you could be doing better.
Yeah.
And the day's also going to come, whether you work in construction or somewhere else, the day's going to come that you get sick, that you get married, that your wife wants insurance, and it's going to be like, well, I don't have insurance, but I got cash, and
Exactly.
she's probably going to walk down the bar to the next guy who has insurance. She'll be looking for the guy with the carpenter's jacket on. Who's
Right.
like, hey, I got a pension.
I know, and that's what it's so sad. We've talked about this on the show before. When you hear guys working, getting paid cash for 20 years, they retire, they got nothing. They got absolutely nothing. I mean, sure, you'll make some money. You hide it under your bed,
right?
But expenses come along, and then that means you got to work until you're 70 or 80. I don't know. It's
a sad thing.
It's hard to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, we all hate to see the older folks that are left working in grocery stores and just doing whatever their bodies will still allow them because
right.
it's,
that's all I can.
But yeah, I mean that's what unions are here for, right? So listen up, everybody. This is important, and we're out here trying to fix this problem, to help the state, balance its books. It certainly always has enough trouble doing that.
Yep.
And and to help workers as well. So we've got to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back in just a minute with the Workers' Mic right here on 720 WGN. Welcome back, everybody, to the Workers' Mic right here on 720 WGN. We've had a good show today, and we've got just a few minutes left to talk. But one thing that's been in the news that you hear a little bit here and there, and I wanted to get into it because it seems like there's a deadline coming up pretty soon, is this impending writers' strike in the entertainment industry. So it's the Writers Guild has, I think their contract ends on May 1st, or May 1st is the deadline on this, but
is it both East and West?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's two different unions, but the one thing I'll say about the entertainment industry, whether it's SAG, whether it's the Writers Guild, like they stick together very, very well.
Yes.
But they're out trying to get a new contract, and it seems like a strike is almost a foregone conclusion the way people are talking about this. And looking into this a little bit, it's a really interesting thing because the last time they went on strike was 2007. But think about the world in which, like, you write for a TV show, or you're a cameraman on a TV show, or you're an actor. In the old days, you work on Friends and you get paid per episode, and then every time it's on NBC, you get paid more for that.
And on a show, not to interrupt, that would have 23 episodes.
Right, exactly. More
per
episodes.
season, 35 even.
Right.
Now, a lot of TV shows have 10 episodes.
Right. So now we're in a world that's completely changed and kind of continues to. So one of the most highly rated shows on TV that was used as an example, I don't actually watch it, but I've heard a lot about it. It's Abbott Elementary.
Yep.
So that show's on ABC. And right after it airs on ABC, they put it on Hulu. And after it's on Hulu for a couple days, it goes to HBO Max. Now, What does all this mean? Why is this important? If you're a writer on Abbott Elementary, the pay per episode is $13,500. And that's what you get paid when it's on ABC. And if it re-airs, that's what you get paid when they put the show into syndication. So it's a nice, healthy paycheck. When somebody watches it on Hulu, you get paid $700.
Really?
Yeah. So these and HBO Max is the same thing. So shows are being taken and they're put onto these streaming services. And I'll also say the streaming services are losing billions of dollars. There used to be Netflix, and then there was Hulu, and then there was Disney Plus, and now there's everything. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I have way too many subscriptions to streaming services, but
yeah, you're almost paralyzed by what to watch because there's too many options, right?
Yeah, people used to say, we need an a la carte menu. Cable's too expensive. We need to just be able to pick what we want, and man, now we got it. And I'll say, streaming probably wouldn't be as quickly impacted by a strike because these streaming networks like, Netflix, Hulu, et cetera, they have a lot of content that's just lined up, and, but it's this industry is changing so quickly.
Yeah.
So, I hope that these writers figure out a good way to continue getting paid, because as you said, when you're going from these old sitcoms that had 25 episode seasons and now you're on to streaming shows that have 8 or 10 episodes in a season, there's less opportunity to make money. The residuals and the pay is less, for the workers. So if we want to continue to have good entertainment, we've got to, keep good people able to make a living in this industry.
In television, the writer is king.
Right.
I think from what I remember, people who've worked in the industry, and like in movies, writers are nobody.
Right.
they don't even allow them on the set. It's all driven by the producers. But in television, the writer is king, and I believe the guild negotiates with the Producers Guild.
I think that's right.
Right, and so that's what's come down to. And the producers are still making their money, but yeah, it's the writers. And I know a couple people who work in television, and yeah, because there's such a limited number of shows that staff for more than 10 episodes. You know,
Right.
there's just not many of those sitcom type shows that have long story arcs in several episode runs. It's just really hard out there. And then when you mentioned the fact that you're getting paid for episodes that you're actually credited on, you know, a lot of people hear, oh, you're a Hollywood writer. They're not making a lot of money.
Right, and
So
they've changed the model too with a lot of the networks as well as the streaming groups. They used to pay people to sit in a room and come up with ideas for a show and
Yep.
to write, ideas for a show. Now they have a new thing, and I think it's called like small room or something like that, where they bring everybody together and you talk about the show before you actually start writing the episodes, and all the work you do, it's the same exact work. But you don't get paid
You don't get
writer's
paid for
scale
it.
for
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
they've got a lot of work to do, and as
and they
somebody
need to negotiate right now
Yeah.
before Chat GPT takes over as
Right
well,
on.
because you know the studios are gonna be looking at that. Let's
Yeah.
get some AI generated content.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get that contract signed now.
Yeah, I love good television. I think
Yeah.
we live in the golden age of TV, and so go get them. As
Yeah.
you said, give them hell.
Give 'em
Writers
hell.
Guild.
Let's go.
We're behind
Solidarity.
the workers' mic. Okay, well, one thing I wanted to talk about is you were mentioning, Phil, that the Carpenters actually have some apprenticeship opportunities right now. I
We
talked
do.
about what 150 has, and I'd like you to give a little bit more information about the opportunities at the Carpenters.
Yeah, we always have application periods throughout the year. We're accepting new apprentices, and right now we have an opening for concrete form builders. So if
Okay.
you're interested, which is a lot of work happening right now, especially with all the infrastructure work that's coming down the pipeline and all the money coming from Congress to fund that work. So, if you want to get into road building, bridge building, concrete form on vertical infrastructure, this is a good opportunity. And you can go to mactc.org, mactc.org. That's our training website, and learn how you can apply. It's
Okay.
the application period goes from now until the end of May.
Okay.
But go on there. There's a form to fill out. You got to go apply in person. It's obviously a great job.
Right.
As we all know, a career in the building trades is very lucrative. It's very fulfilling. You'll get a pension. You get to earn while you learn. One
Right.
of our famous things that we like to sell.
Well, yeah, go to training and not wind up with $100,000 in debt.
I mean, imagine like getting paid to go to college is what you're
How about it?
what you're getting to do here. So, we're very excited to keep bringing in new blood into the union. And if you're interested in a great career, go to that website and learn more on how to apply.
mactc.org.
MAC
Concrete form builders.
You got it.
Nice. And I mean, these are jobs where apprentices get health care, get retirement savings. I mean, these are awesome jobs. So I would encourage everybody to check that out. If you've
Yep.
got a kid sleeping on the couch right now at 8:45 on a Sunday morning, maybe wake them up and tell them to go on the internet and look for a job.
Rustle them out of bed.
Yeah. So, and then, I mean, when you bring in, I'm aware that you have a really cool program for your apprentices where, we've talked before about, orientation and stuff, but you provide, kind of like a path for your new apprentices where you introduce them to the union, have separate meetings for them, right?
Yeah. It's relatively new. It's called the Cub Club, which is a lot of apprentices, first year apprentices, and at least in the world of carpentry, possibly in your world as well, are referred to as Cubs. And like any industry, when you're a new guy, there's a little bit of razzing, and I wouldn't go as far as say hazing, but
No.
when you're the new guy on a job site,
Yeah.
they're gonna mess you a little bit. You
Low
got
man
some
on the totem
You
pole.
got your low man on the totem pole. You got some grizzled veterans who might give you a little bit of crap, if I could say that, when you're doing the job. And so we want to make sure that these guys guys and gals who join the union, who haven't really been exposed to what it means to be a union member.
Yeah.
How do I learn? Like, who's in charge? What do I do here? How do I get my questions answered?
So they get a job, they get a little bit of guidance on the job, and
Yep.
a little bit of directory, which I think is something that every union could learn from. So
Correct.
hats off to you guys. We've got to wrap up for this week. Thank you everyone for sticking with us for the show. Ken, good luck catching the fish out there,
Good luck, Ken.
and we'll be back with you next week right here on 720 WGN.